down we have the sirens. So there is a creepy legend out there that sirens live in or around the Bermuda Triangle, and that they are to blame for all the disappearances of the sailors and ships and stuff. They attract sailors in with their beautiful voices and enchanting music. Next thing you know, they're sailing right into the rocks and to their death. In fact, it's said that they can even charm the winds, meaning they can make the water more turbulent for sailors or windier for pilots. So maybe there are sirens lurking in the Bermuda Triangle. Who knows? Coming in at number 9, we have the oarfish. The oarfish is the world's longest bony fish. They can be up to 56 feet in length and can weigh about 600 pounds. They also look pretty weird. They look like a cross between an eel and a fish. Not only that, but they have bright silvery skin with bright red spikes running down their back. In fact, it gave 2 men quite the scare once. Back in 1860, 2 men were gathering seaweed on the coast of Bermuda when this creature washed up on the rocks. They immediately thought it was a nasty sea serpent beast, so they killed it out of fear. Later, it was found out just to be an oarfish. In our 8th spot today, we have the ETs. Now, there are many theories about the Bermuda Triangle regarding the disappearances of both ships and planes. One of the theories is that aliens are behind this, which seems wild to think about, but a number of aliens or ETs have been spotted in the Bermuda Triangle. Christopher Columbus himself spotted an ET when he was traversing the ocean. He apparently wrote about his encounter with a UFO in his diaries. Apparently, Columbus wrote about seeing a bright disc-shaped object rise out of the ocean and fly into the sky. He also said he saw stars spinning above them and a candle-like light floating up and down around them. So people think that he saw an alien spacecraft and that they're living at the bottom of the ocean. In our 7th spot today, we have the giant squid. In 2005, 2 Japanese marine biologists discovered a massive giant squid in Japan. The squid was aggressively attacking baited lines in the area. Now, they did actually manage to capture footage of it, and researchers were able to identify the creature as being an architeutis. This is a rare species that can seize bait with extreme force. They're also known as being pretty violent, and this creature was close to 30 feet in length, so it was massive. Now, this got scientists thinking, what if there are giant squids of this species residing in the Bermuda Triangle? Since they are violent and known to attack ships, maybe these creatures can be blamed for some of the ship's downfall. I mean, over the years, people have spotted what they believed is the KRAKEN in the Bermuda Triangle. But what if what they were seeing was really just a massive, aggressive, giant squid? In fact, some squids grow up to 150 feet. Coming in at number 6, we have the frilled shark. Now, I can't believe that this is an actual creature because it looks like a creature straight out of a horror film. The frilled shark has been around for 80 million years so far. They were given the name the frilled shark because of their frilly appearance of their gills. They also are kind of similar to snakes because they have hinged jaws that allow them to eat big creatures whole. Like, when I look at this thing, it looks like a weird mix between a shark and an eel and a snake. It's also got the scariest looking set of teeth. Now, these things typically grow to about 7 feet. However, in 1880, a captain discovered one that measured to be around 25 feet. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the man of war. Now, this is quite an interesting name for a sea creature. In fact, this sea creature is quite interesting. It looks like a jellyfish, but it's not. It's a siphonophore. Now, it gets its name due to its 4 polyps that it has on its body. One of the polyps, which is a gas-filled bladder, is said to resemble an old warship at full sail. So, yeah, that's why they named it that. Now, these things can grow to about 130 feet, which is longer than a blue whale. However, their bodies are very tiny. They aren't much wider than a broomstick handle. Now, humans have to be careful around these guys because they use their tentacles to sting and paralyze their prey. Some humans have been stung by them, and apparently the stings turn into nasty welts and it's incredibly painful. As an adult, chances are that you'll survive this sting. However, sadly, a number of children have died from the venom of the man of war. In our 4th spot, we have the fangtooth fish. Now this creature gets its name because of its massive fang-like teeth. In fact, it has the largest teeth compared to body size of any known fish. So the fangtooth fish are carnivorous. They love to eat smaller fish and crustaceans, but they have also been known to go after squids. Honestly, they'll just eat anything that they're able to kill. They have massive jaws lined with enormous teeth. In fact, their fangs are so large that they actually evolved to have special sockets on either side of their brain to accommodate their large fangs. Also, they are pretty dark in color, which allows them to blend in perfectly with the deep dark ocean waters. In our third spot, we have the megamouth shark. If you're afraid of sharks, then this one is just going to send chills down your spine. Just as its name suggests, these sharks have megamouths. In fact, they have glowing pores around their mouths so that their mouths actually glow. This helps them in their hunting process. All they gotta do is open their mouth and wait for a fish to be attracted to the light. Now, their mouths are about 4 feet wide, which is insane. Their bodies are typically around 16 feet in length, but they can grow to be about 20. In our second spot, we have the nudibranch or nudibranch. I've heard it said both ways, okay? Anyways, these creatures are soft-bodied, shell-less marine mollusks or sea slugs. They actually can look quite beautiful with their bright, colorful bodies. Now, its name literally means naked gill, hence the whole nudie part. What's interesting about these is that they like to steal the stinging cells from their prey, and then they use that on their predators to defend themselves. That's pretty wild, right? And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Bermuda beast. Over the years, sailors have spotted a weird creature lurking in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle that is unlike anything that they have ever seen before. Legend goes that the monster is apparently 4 times the size of the Eiffel Tower. It's also super strong, making it easy to snatch planes in mid-air, and has strong, powerful teeth that can be used to tear apart ships. This creature has been given the name the Bermuda Beast. Bermuda researcher Rob Simone greatly believes there is indeed a creature lurking in the Bermuda waters. He says, and I quote, "Maybe its food source is contained there. It could explain some of the ships that were mysteriously lost." Now, in the diaries of Christopher Columbus, he wrote about seeing an underwater fire-breathing beast while traveling in the area. Now, I don't know so much about the whole fire-breathing thing, but maybe there is some massive sea beast living in that area.
Starting us off at number 10 is true north. Very few places on Earth will ever actually point to true north. What is true north? True north is the direction that points exactly towards the geographic North Pole. Being that there are next to no markers and obviously no landmarks in the middle of the ocean, when GPS and other high-tech systems go awry, ships and other craft are forced to use their compasses as a way to stay on track. Compasses operate usually by pointing towards magnetic north, as the compass aligns with Earth's magnetic field. Magnetic north can shift depending on the change in the Earth's magnetic core, which operators and sailors are prepared for, thus creating a huge issue when operators and sailors traveling through the mysterious triangle discover that their compass is no longer working properly, because it's pointing to true north instead of magnetic north. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've ever had to use a compass, and I think no matter what my compass reads, I would still be lost at sea. So Bermuda doesn't sound like the greatest vacay spot, but let's continue to see what's in store before we make up our mind.
In our 9th spot today, we have pyrosomes. Now, these things are pretty interesting. I mean, just take a look at them and the shape of them. It looks like something pretty questionable. Anyways, these are free-floating colonial tunicates. They usually live in the upper layers of the open ocean in warm sea, but they have been found deeper down as well. Now, what is a tunicate, you ask? Because I certainly didn't know until today's video. Well, they are these small marine invertebrate animals. So a bunch of these cluster together and form this cone-shaped colony. The colonies can be up to 18 meters, which is 60 feet long. In that case, there would be hundreds of thousands of these dudes in there, because individually they are less than 1 centimeter. Other names that they go by are sea pickles, sea worms, sea squirts, fire bodies, and cockroaches of the sea. Moving on to number 8, we have the mermaids. Obviously sirens and mermaids are pretty similar, just like one harms you and the other don't want to be discovered and hopefully don't harm you. It's believed that beneath the waters in the Bermuda Triangle are a number of mermaids swimming about. In fact, over the years, a number of sailors have claimed to see faces of humans underwater. Legend goes that these are the faces of sailors that got pushed overboard and drowned. But what if they're not ghostly sailors and they're actually mermaids? Not only that, but we still have so much more of the ocean to explore and map out. Who knows what really lurks down in the ocean? Maybe mermaids are real. In our 7th spot today, we have the Kraken. Now, there are a number of people that believe that the legendary Kraken isn't so legendary, and maybe that's another reason as to why ships and airplanes go missing and that there's no wreckage ever found. It's because the Kraken swallows them whole, so there's no wreckage left over. For the planes, the Kraken is said to be big enough to snatch a plane right out of the sky. Might sound hard to believe, but people are working to prove this theory, and if they go missing, I bet they fell victim to the Kraken as well. In our 6th spot, we have the marine hatchet fish. Now, these dudes are pretty creepy looking. They constantly have this expression plastered on their face as if they just seen a ghost. They got massive foggy grayish eyes and a gaping mouth. Like, they look scary, but then they also look like they're scared. I don't know. Anyways, these dudes are tiny. They range from 2.8 centimeters to 12 centimeters depending on the species. It gets its name because its body is kinda shaped like a hatchet. They have the ability to look directly up with their eyes to see above them and grab prey floating down. Not only that, but their eyes have become sensitive to light, so they're really good at spotting prey. It can pick out camouflage prey swimming in the murky light above with ease. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the anglerfish. Now, anglerfish are undeniably creepy. In fact, they are considered one of the scariest sea creatures on Earth. And I know why. Just take a look at its terrifying mouth lined with spiky teeth. Now, if you've seen Finding Nemo, then you remember this guy with that little ball of light that dangles down from its head while it hides out in the darkness. And then when fish are drawn to it, like Marlin and Dory, it comes out of nowhere and just snatches them and eats them. But obviously Finding Nemo is a Disney movie, so they didn't kill off the 2 main characters. So what else is creepy about this fish is that their mouth is so wide that it extends all over the entire circumference of its head. These creatures are also covered in what looks like hair all over their body, but these are actually used to sense what's around them. I don't know, they're just creepy, no thank you. Plus they can swallow fish that are almost twice their size. Moving on to number 4, we have the lionfish. Now, these fish are pretty beautiful. They're covered in bright colors and stripes, but they are full of venomous spines. Getting pierced by one is excruciating, but death is very, very rare, but it can still happen. They have 18 venomous spines that can pierce right through our skin. 13 of those spines are located along the spine of the dorsal fins. There is 1 on each of the pelvic fins and 3 short spines on its backside by its booty. As for the size of these bad boys, well, an adult lionfish can grow as large as 18 inches, which is pretty big, whereas the young might only be like 1 inch or less. Moving on to number 3, we have the blanket octopus, which is a pretty interesting name for an octopus if you ask me. But it gets its name because the females have a long, like fleshy cape thing that's around its tentacles. This cape makes the octopus appear larger and more intimidating to potential predators. But fun fact, the females can weigh up to 40,000 times more than their partners. As for size, although pictures make them look big, they're kinda small. The females grow 2 meters in length. The males, on the other hand, are 2.4 centimeters. Yes, 2.4 centimeters, so they are tiny. They're like, bam, okay? Don't ask me how they mate. I have no clue. That size difference is insane. In fact, the blanket octopus, or octopi, have the largest gender size discrepancy in the animal kingdom. Coming in at number 2, we have the fluke fish, aka the summer flounder. Now, this is one of the most oddly shaped fish I have ever seen. They're super flat, but have big round bodies lined with like fins. The weirdest part though has to be its eyes. They have both eyes on the same side of their face instead of one on each side. So it like looks side profile all the time. It's pretty weird. Now they're also called chameleons of the sea because they can camouflage to the bottom of the ocean with ease. In fact, they can change their color and texture to match their surroundings. Isn't that cool? I think so. Now they can grow anywhere from 8.7 to 23.6 inches, which is 22 to 60 centimeters in length, with their average size being around 15 inches, which is 38 centimeters. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the giant isopods. Now, these things are like giant underwater cockroaches. I kid you not. And they are found in the cold, deep waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Ocean. However, although it looks like a bug, it is not. They are closely related to marine crustaceans like shrimp and crabs. As their name suggests, they are giant. They are typically between 7.5 to 14.2 inches in length, but can grow even bigger. One of the biggest ones discovered was 2.5 feet long. It was discovered in 2010. Scientists still are trying to figure out why they grow so big. They think maybe it's to help them survive the extreme pressure of the deep ocean, but who really knows? What is also creepy is that they're carnivores, okay? They feast on dead animals that fall from above, and probably dead divers too. Starting off this countdown, we have the cookie cutter shark. These sharks are called the cookie cutter shark due to the fact that they leave a cookie-shaped bite hole in their prey, but they are pretty small compared to other sharks. They grow to about only 20 inches, but they are still highly aggressive. In fact, they have been known to attack whales, even great white sharks. These little guys also have the largest teeth out of any species of shark. In fact, their bites are so strong and sharp that they have managed to bite through submarines. I kid you not. Also, they have been known to bite through cables or deep sea equipment. So you definitely don't want to get in the way of these guys.
At number 9, we have the deepest spot on Earth. So we always talk about how much we want to keep exploring space and we want to get to know our own universe, but you know what's really funny to me? We still have barely scraped the surface, or under the surface, for exploring our own ocean. One of those places being the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is home to one of the deepest spots on Earth. Underneath the surface, the topography of the seafloor goes from a gentle sloping continental shelf to a drop of a few hundred feet to another drop of a few who knows how many thousand feet. Many disappearances that have been reported in the Bermuda Triangle could have their answers laying somewhere at the bottom of these deep trenches. But until we actually start exploring our oceans just as much as we explore space, just like whatever lays at the bottom, we will be left in the dark. At our number 8 spot, we have methane gas. This gas is colorless, odorless, highly flammable, and one of the main components in natural gas which we all use to generate electricity and heat our homes all around the world. But guess what? It's also in the Bermuda Triangle. Due to decomposing sea organisms, scientists have discovered large concentrations of methane gas trapped in the ocean floor. Methane accumulates as concentrated methane ice, and if and when a pocket ruptures, the gas rockets upwards towards the surface without any warning or notice to those sailing above. If a ship were to be in the area of the blowout, it could possibly sink because the water would become much less dense and sediment could quickly cover it as the wreck lands on the sea floor. As of right now, there is no proof that this is the reason for any of the missing ships that have been reported in the Bermuda Triangle, but then again, how would we ever know? At our number 7 spot, we have Rogue Waves. Now does that not sound like a great band name or what? Due to the location of the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic Ocean, storms can come from all directions. They can come from Mexico, from the equator, or the east side of the Atlantic. These storms of course make major waves reaching up to 30 feet or 10 meters tall, but what happens when they all come together at the exact same moment? These rogue waves can reach up to sizes of 100 feet or 30 meters tall. Engineers at the University of Southampton built models of different sized ships and simulated their own rogue waves in a wave tank for the small scale ships. What happened? These engineers discovered that these ships could indeed sink. The bigger the ship, the easier it was to sink because big ships are designed to be supported in the front by the top of a wave while the back is supported by another. But if hit by a rogue wave, those big ships, guess what? they snap in two. The small ones can sometimes survive if they hit the wave bow on, but most times will just get swallowed up completely. Rogue waves? Hopefully not coming to an ocean near you. At our number 6 spot, we have electronic fog. So far, out of the many distress calls claiming to come from an electronic fog, these stories and events have been labeled as supernatural and not taken seriously. But there are reports from actual pilots who have flown through these strange phenomena, and it's wild. Veteran pilot Bruce Gernon reports that when he was flying with his father in his classic Bonanza plane back in 1970, about 3 miles off Andros Island, an elliptical shaped cloud began forming in front of them. Before the father and son could escape the path of this mysterious cloud, they were engulfed and had a tunnel form all the way around them. And while in the cloud flying at 10,000 feet, they reported seeing lines in the tunnel spiraling counterclockwise while propelling them forward. They then started feeling the effects of zero gravity, and all of their navigational systems started to fail. Fortunately, this electronic spiraling fog tunnel dissipated and they found themselves right over Miami Beach and were once again able to pick up radar. The next strange thing? They traveled 100 miles in 30 minutes less time than usual. Similar stories to Gernon's have been reported as well, but with no real answers to how or why. Some suspect it could be something related to the Hutchinson effect, but as of right now the electronic fog is still a mystery. Coming in at our number 5 midway spot is the once infamous mythical creature proven to be real, the giant squid. Aside from the many strange events and things found in the Bermuda Triangle, some have reported seeing a giant octopus, or octopi if there are more than one. I wonder. Now, as of right now, there is no such thing as these creatures, but giant squid are indeed a real animal, and 2 Japanese scientists believe they caught one on camera. In 2005, 2 Japanese scientists spotted a giant squid aggressively taking baited lines. Normally, these creatures are not known to be in this area of ocean, but the footage says differently. These giant squid can reach up to 150 feet. Seeing the aggressive nature of this creature as well as the size, it is no wonder some believe that they could be responsible for some of the disappearing ships. Speaking of, coming in our top 4 spot, we have ships that have gone missing. As I said earlier, there are more than 50 ships that are reported to have gone missing in the Bermuda Triangle over the years. One of the most notorious ones being the USS Cyclops. One of the Navy's largest fuel ships went missing back in March 1918. This ship was carrying 10,800 tons of manganese ore with 309 crew members on board. Only one message was received from the ship during its voyage from Brazil to Baltimore, and it reported no trouble whatsoever while it was out on the sea. But then, it sailed through the Bermuda Triangle. The ship never made it to its destination and was never found. Not only was the ship never found, but also no debris or crew members either. There was no distress call received anywhere. One of the largest ships in the Navy and everything on board and everyone on board gone missing in a flash with no explanation? That's scary. Starting us off at our number 3 spot is planes gone missing. Over 20 aircraft just like ships have gone missing over the years, and some of these reports are quite recent too. One of the latest being just last year in May when a small twin-engine plane mysteriously went missing. Same thing as the USS Cyclops, those aboard started their flight with no complications whatsoever, and there were no distress calls reported or anything out of the ordinary. Once again, no wreckage, crew, or any signs of any explanation can be found. But maybe our next one on the list will help. At our number 2 spot, we have UFO sightings. If you have been keeping up to date with any of the alien news lately, you will know that there have been more than a couple of sightings all over North America in the last few years. One of them taking place over the Bermuda Triangle, April 28, 2020, reported by not just anyone, but the United States Air Force. Many of the United States Air Force members have come out quite recently with more and more sightings, with some of them dating all the way back to the 1970s, right over top of the Bermuda Triangle. I hear more and more alien information every day, and I am loving it. If I ever have a major reason to go to Bermuda, it's to see some aliens. Come on, who's coming with me? Finally, coming in at our number 1 spot is something we're going to have to grab our proton packs for, because our final and weirdest thing found in Bermuda is ghost ships. Back in 1881, the infamous Ellen Austin ship experienced a ghost ship in an area of the Bermuda Triangle before things went awfully awry. The crew of the Ellen Austin discovered the ship fully stocked but with no crew on board or anywhere to be seen. Seeing an opportunity for a free ship with supplies, part of the Ellen Austin crew took over the ship and prepared to sail back with the ships side by side. Just then, an unexpected storm came out of nowhere and totally engulfed the 2 ships. After the storm was over the next day, both ships came out of the Terror, but no crew was anywhere to be seen on the picked up ghost ship. Just then, crew members and captain of the Ellen Austin came aboard once again and then got swallowed up by a mysterious fog. And once the fog cleared, the ghost ship completely vanished along with everything and everyone. I hate to say it, but I guess that's karma, and she's always gonna come for you.